Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're zooming way in, looking at human history through a microscopic lens. We usually focus on the massive monuments of our past, right? The giant pyramids, sprawling ancient cities, massive empires. But the actual survival and expansion of the human race, that was largely secured by a tiny, totally mundane tool that literally fits right in the palm of your hand. Get ready, because today we are exploring the microhistory of the fishhook.
Okay, let's dive into this. If I asked you, what simple invention changed human history, where does your mind go? We naturally jump to fire, the wheel, or maybe the printing press. But there's this silent, completely unassuming technology that emerged long before the written word, and it triggered an absolute biological and societal chain reaction.
Section 1. The Prehistoric Puzzle, Scraps of Evidence.
To really understand this tool's massive impact, we have to embrace what's known as the paleoarchaeologist's problem. Long before anyone was writing things down, history had to be pieced together exclusively from these incredibly rare, fragile physical scraps left behind by our ancestors. Finding intact evidence from this era is, frankly, exceptionally difficult. It's like a giant puzzle where almost all the pieces are missing.
And honestly, that makes this date absolutely unbelievable. 35,000 BCE. That is when the earliest fish hooks first appear in the archaeological record. 35,000 BCE. It's a tiny piece of physical evidence proving that our ancestors were engineering highly complex solutions to environmental challenges tens of thousands of years before modern civilization even started.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Section 2. Fashioning the first hooks, pre-metalworking.
Arriving at 35,000 BCE means we are way before metalworking. So early fish hooks were fashioned entirely from organic materials. Just think about the careful craftsmanship required here. They had to take brittle shells, animal horn, bone, or wood and meticulously carve it into a functional tool capable of holding onto a violently thrashing fish. These incredibly fragile organics ended up having a highly durable impact on our evolution. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive gap in what actually survives for paleoarchaeologists today. The very earliest hooks were likely made out of wood. But wood is highly perishable, right? It just returns to the earth. Because of this, the ones we actually find in the archaeological record are mostly made from bone and shell, purely because they're durable enough to survive millennia in the dirt.
But hey, do not underestimate wood. You might think its natural buoyancy would make it a terrible material for fishing. No way! The fundamental design was so incredibly effective that wooden hooks was successfully used to catch species like the burbot all the way up into the 1960s. That is some serious staying power.
Over those many millennia, the fish hook evolved to optimize three absolutely crucial mechanics. First up, attraction. You gotta get the fish to the hook. Second, retention, keeping it securely attached during a wild, violent struggle. And finally, retrieval, actually pulling your catch onto land without the tool snapping in half. It really is a perfectly engineered, three-step biological trap.
Section 3. A nutritional revolution, fueling evolution. Now this is where our story shifts from pure engineering over to biology. See, carving a hook is one thing, but combining it with bait, that solved a massive existential survival puzzle. Prehistoric humans suddenly unlocked the rivers, the lakes, the shores, gaining access to a highly concentrated, easy source of energy that was previously totally out of reach. And the dietary payoff was immense. Fish isn't just basic calories, it is a literal evolutionary superfood. It provided early humans with dense fat, high protein, and essential fatty acids. This happens to be the exact nutritional profile required to fuel a massive, energy-hungry human brain. It's no exaggeration. The fish hook literally fed our cognitive evolution.
Section 4. The gift of time, energy input versus output.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate societal impact of the fishhook, which really comes down to one simple ratio: energy input versus energy output. Think about it. Hunting large game requires huge expenditures of physical energy, and there's a really high risk of failure. But dropping a line into fecund waters, that requires very little energy and time compared to the immense caloric payoff you get back.
This creates a beautiful game-changing equation for human progress. Less energy spent desperately foraging for your next meal equals more free time. For the very first time in our history, our ancestors weren't forced to spend every single waking second just trying to secure calories for tomorrow. The fishhook essentially created surplus hours in the day.
So, the crucial point is that this extra time changed absolutely everything.
No longer bound by the relentless daily search for calories, our ancestors could finally look up. They started building better shelters. They developed complex languages. They created art and invented entirely new tools. The sheer efficiency of the fishhook allowed early humans to stop merely surviving and begin laying the absolute foundation for modern civilization.
It is just fascinating to trace how a fragile piece of carved wood from 35,000 BCE fed our evolution and literally gave us the free time to build the modern world. Honestly, it forces you to look around your desk right now and ask, what seemingly simple tools are we using today that are quietly shaping the future of our species? Keep looking closely at the world around you, and I will see you in the next explainer.